Okay. So anyway, we're recording. As I was saying, is that these tools are designed to help you produce sales. The problem is we don't use enough visuals in front of a client. When we get in there, we just like to just talk and ask some questions here and there, but we don't show anything on paper. And actually, and the way you show it, there's a way to do this, okay? And what I'm about to tell you is going to increase your ability to persuade people by at least 50%. When you show something to a client, don't just hand it to him. What I used to do is stand up. Now, you don't do it every single time, but you use it on occasion. Use your judgment, okay? Is you stand and say, Mr. Client, do you mind if I show you something? Let's say the client says, I'm not interested. I understand, sir. No problem. Do you mind if I show you something? Sure, go ahead. You take something out of your kit. Maybe it's one of these break-even points, or you have to create some interest. You have to show him something that'll create some interest. So you take out maybe a break-even point analysis, or a summary of appraisal, or a cash flow analysis, or all of them, okay? Or a critical variable checklist, or an organizational chart of all the key areas that we look into. And you put it in, you say, do you mind if I show you something? And you stand up, you walk around next to the client, okay? And you put it in front of him, so you're both talking as if you're both, next to each other. Why do you do that? That's because when you're talking to the client next to each other, there's no confrontation. There's less of a resistance. It's easier to persuade people if you talk to them next to each other rather than front face to face. Say, let me show you something. You stand next to them. You say, here's some document I wanted to show you. This is called a break-even chart. And show them some benefit out of whatever it is. I don't know what you're going to say. Just talk. Say, this is what the exciting thing we're going to show you. Look at this. This is what's going to happen. He's going to break down all your problems in your business and challenges and isolate them, put them in a corner, and tell you each one on how you stack up. It's literally like getting a report card of each of your issues in your business, because right now, you can't put a finger on it, Mr. Client. You don't know where the problems are. You know you have them here and there, but you don't see all of them. There's 255 areas we analyze in a business. I don't have time to go through the 255 areas, but here's a sampling of some of the areas. This is called a critical variable checklist. Look at the key areas that you should know about. You're going to get an MBA in 2 days, Mr. Client. This is called the 2-day MBA program. That's right. When you graduate from this thing, man, you're going to blow away your competition. You're going to know so much about your business and the industry that your competition doesn't have a chance. Your profits will double probably. Your sales are going to go up by at least 30-40%. Your cash flow in the bank is going to stack up. You're probably going to need to have a separate bank account. That's how excited I am for you, sir. This is what we do. Now, let me ask you a question. I know you don't believe me, but if we could push across the table, you did $1 million of business, you said, last year. If we could push across the table an extra $50,000 in front of you, do I suddenly become your best friend? You smile as you say that. Absolutely. You say, that's exactly what we want to show you. And at that point, you take your hand out and reach for his hand. You say that, and you say, thank you for doing business with us. That's exactly what's going to happen. They're going to get excited because you believe that is what's going to happen. But it's going back to the attitude. If you don't believe that that's something we can do for the client, they're not going to be convinced. You got to believe that that's actually going to happen, as much as you believe that if you jumped off the Empire State Building that you'd go down. Right? Gravity's going to pull you down. You believe that. Nobody can doubt that, right? So that's how convinced you have to be that if you let go of a piece of pen and you're 3 feet off the ground, that pen is going to hit the floor. No doubt about it. It's going to hit the floor. So that's how positive you are that this will hit the floor, this piece of pen, right? This pen. That's how positive you have to be that the client is actually going to gain $50,000 by using our services. They're going to gain that much money. How excited should the client be? They should be, you should be peeling them off the ceiling. Excited like that, Mr. Client. That's what's going to happen. Slap your hand on the table like that and say, that is what we can do for you. And I know you can use that extra $50,000. just by looking at some simple strategies. Now, even if it's too much, 50,000, we can keep it down to 20,000 if you want. Okay, so I don't make it overly exciting. Let's keep it down. Even 20,000 would be worth it. But I'm going to give you a guarantee, Mr. Client. If we can't produce those numbers, guess what? Sit on your wallet. Don't even bring it in the room. Okay? Is that fair? They're going to say, sure, good. You shake his hand at that point. You say, that's the way we like to do business with you. Shake their hand. You say, that's exactly how we're going to do business with you. What is the exact spelling of your company? At that point, if you get agreement on something, ask a closing question. Ask a closing question when you get agreement on something. Well, does this make sense? Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. What time do you get in tomorrow morning? 8 o'clock? 9? What time do you get in? They'll know. They always know what time they get in. Whatever time they tell you, you put it on the 44. Right? I'm telling you, this is how simple a sale is. You don't have to use a CNEX to close a sale. You can do this. That's how we made sales in the field. Hardly any prospect, bring it to the desk wasn't even discovered back then, 20 years ago. We did our own sales. The salesman the job was to get the sale, get it signed, and call it in. And all we did is just take the order. And guess what? We didn't become order take. We actually upgraded the client to the next level, which is conditioning him on the consulting end. That's how you increase your cash collect. Okay? You call in schedules rather than prospect calls. That's how you increase your back end cash collect, which is a go, which is what the analyst is going to do for you if you set the table up properly. And the way you set the table up is you sell the whole thing yourself. Drinking the water here. You sell the whole thing yourself, and all you're doing is when you're calling it in, you say things like this. Even if it's a 90% sold or a 50% sold client, you say, you know what, Mike, I'm going to need an analyst that's good with sales and marketing. I'm also going to need an analyst that's very good at taxes. He's telling me that he's paying too much taxes. He doesn't know how much too much he's paying. So I'm going to put a note here that we need an analyst that's very well qualified, that understands tax planning. I also would like an analyst that understands cash flow management. He's having some problems with receivables. He doesn't know how he's going to collect them on time. There's these guys, these moochers, that he does the work and they don't pay him after 30 days. Shame on them. So we need an analyst that can show him how to get that money coming in faster. So I need an analyst that knows about cash conversion cycles. I also want an analyst that's very good with employee retention. He's needing good employees. Some of these employees don't stick around too long here, and that costs him a lot of money, frustration of hiring and training and all that stuff. So we need to take a look at that as well. So I need an analyst that's good with people, that can understand how to attract good quality help. Isn't that what you told me, Mr. Client? And you look at the client as you're talking to the CNEX on the phone. You're talking to the client as you're talking to the CNEX on the phone. You're talking to two people. You don't let them get away when you call in. You got to say things like, I need you here, stick around for another 2 minutes. Just say that. Even if it sounds like you're pressuring him. Just say it. So what? They're not going to shoot you. You know? Believe in your product. Remember, you're doing the client a favor. We're not even asking for the money here at this point. We're doing the client a favor. He should put off his other things that he's doing, unless he has to really go to the bathroom really bad. Of course, he's got to go, right? But he should put off whatever disturbances he has and only talk to you because you are producing $50,000 in his bank account. You have every right to keep him in control. So hold him there. That's how you merchandise. Now, why did I not talk about getting in the door so much? Here's why. Now, this is why I didn't bring it up in the beginning. Because if you believe in this thing and you can do this, when you walk into a client's business, you're going to feel like all this knowledge I have of how to convert this client by showing him and all this cool stuff I got, I'm loaded up. I know I can get past the receptionist. Because your confidence level is going to be so sky high that you're going to be so eager to meet with the client. And they can't stop you. Because your attitude is so positive, is so pumped up, that, hey, how could he turn me down with all this knowledge I have? Incredible. He should be paying me just for me to talk to the client, $300, just for me to have 20 minutes of my time. You have to look at this way, that you're going to give this guy so much wealth of knowledge and information in the 20 minutes she's going to sit down with you that you should get paid for your time, just for the presentation. That's how you make big money, is you increase your value. If you increase your value of what you know about the clients and his business, you have every right to schedule the survey, which is the next level. That's how simple a sale is. Increase your value. How do you increase your value? Learn the product. Memorize a few things that we have. Memorize some even brochures that we have. So when you're talking in front of the client, you become the brochure. You become the brochure. So they're talking and you're coming live in living color, talking to the client of all those nice words that are in that brochure, but they're coming out of your mouth. And you're talking about some good technical stuff about what we do. Cash conversion cycle. What percentage of your market share do you have right now, Mr. Client? What is an ERP system? You should know that. If you don't know, go on Google and find out what is an ERP system. What is ISO 9000? What does that mean in a manufacturer? You should know this. If you don't know what an ISO 9000 is, you're not qualified. You're like a doctor trying to treat a patient but who doesn't have a degree. You're going to kill the patient. Okay, all these business terms. Go in there and elevate your knowledge about business. Read some books. There's a great book called The 10-Day MBA. You can get it at the library. It's free for 3 weeks. Then you can extend it for another 3 weeks. No cost. This is knowledge you got to pack in your brain. Go in there and go in some terms about what these MBAs learning about business. I mean, people spend crazy amount of money, $50,000 to get an MBA in a decent college to learn about business management. What if you learned that knowledge and you walked into the client and you can say in your mind that you have an MBA